On the evening of August 17, 2016, a neighbor living in the Victoria Garden City area of Lekki-Ajah, Lagos State, Nigeria, heard something disturbing. He could hear Mrs. Mabel Okafor screaming her security guard's name over and over again. The neighbor became concerned and decided to rush to her house to check what was going on. When he got to Mabel's gate and knocked, a security guard named Abdulateef opened the gate. The neighbor asked what was wrong and why his boss had been screaming. Abdulateef looked calm and unbothered. He told the neighbor not to mind his madam, that she was just scared of a cockroach she saw inside the house. The explanation seemed reasonable enough, so the neighbor believed him and left. Abdulateef closed the gate and went back inside the compound. He walked over to the boys' quarters where another man was living with them in the compound. When Abdulateef checked on this man, he noticed that the man was fully focused on the football match he was watching on television. The man had no clue whatsoever about what had happened just minutes earlier in the main house. He had not heard the screams or noticed anything unusual. Satisfied that no one else knew what he had done, Abdulateef went back to his own apartment in the compound. He began putting his things together, packing everything he owned. By 5 a.m. the next morning, on August 18, 2016, Abdulateef had finished packing. He quietly left the compound and fled all the way to his hometown in Bali community, Jalingo local government area of Taraba State. He had only been employed as Mabel's security guard for about 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Mabel Okafor was supposed to attend an important meeting. She was a successful official at Zenith Bank and had a meeting scheduled with some top government officials. When she did not show up for this important meeting, people at work became concerned. This was so unlike her. She was a professional woman who took her responsibilities seriously. Her colleagues tried to call her phone, but the calls did not go through. They tried again and again, but her phone lines were not connecting. After all attempts to reach her by phone failed, some people decided to go to her home in Victoria Garden City to check on her personally. When they arrived at her house, they immediately noticed something strange. Water was dripping from the air conditioning panel outside the building. This caught their attention, and they began looking around the property, trying to find a way to see inside the house. They found a small opening and decided to peep through it to see if they could spot Mabel inside. On peeping through the window, they found Mabel's body lying on the floor of the living room. The people immediately contacted the police, and when the officers gained entry into the house, they discovered the full horror of what had happened. Mabel Okafor had been stabbed to death. She had been stabbed multiple times in the stomach, specifically 4 stab wounds in total. But what the police noticed next was even more concerning. The air conditioner in the house had been turned on and was blowing directly at Mabel's body. Whoever killed her had deliberately turned on the air conditioning to cool her body and slow down the decomposition process. This was a calculated move designed to buy the killer enough time before the body would start to smell and eventually be discovered. The police also noticed that several of Mabel's belongings were missing from the house. Her 3 mobile phones were gone. Some cash had been taken from her purse, as well as clothes and jewelry. The Lagos State Police Command immediately launched an investigation into the murder. The case was assigned to the Rapid Response Squad, and the investigation quickly focused on the security guard who had disappeared. Witnesses told the police about the young man named Tanko Abdulateef, who had been working as Mabel's security guard. He had only been hired about 2 weeks before the murder and had vanished immediately after Mabel's death. The police began tracking him. They traced Abdulateef all the way to his village in Taraba State, hundreds of kilometers away from Lagos. The officers spent about 3 days in the village working to locate him. On Saturday, August 27, 2016, 10 days after the murder, they finally arrested 22-year-old Tanko Abdulateef. The police had arrested his sister first, who then led them to his room. The police found Abdulateef in possession of many items belonging to the deceased woman. During interrogation, Abdulateef made a full confession about what he had done. He told the police the complete story of how the murder happened. According to his confession, Abdulateef had come to Lagos during the Ramadan period in 2016. He was looking for work and learned that Mabel Okafor was searching for a new security guard because her former one had left. One of his kinsmen who had known about the job opening had informed him about it. He contacted Mabel and was able to secure the job, placed him on a monthly salary of 18,000 naira, and also gave him a room to live within her compound. On the evening of August 17, Mabel had returned home around 8:30 p.m. She had broken some branches of flowers that had overgrown within the premises. She called Abdulateef and asked him whether he had allowed electricity distribution company officials to enter her compound when they had no proper identification. He told her he did not. She then instructed him to go and trim the flower branches that she had broken. At the time she called him, Abdulateef was in his room preparing dinner. He had a knife in his hand that he was using to cut onions and pepper. When Mabel opened her door and gave him the instruction about trimming the flowers, Abdulateef claimed that something strange happened to him. He said he felt a spirit pass through his body. The next thing he knew, he had stabbed her and she was falling to the floor. He said he stabbed her twice in the stomach, and as she fell, she looked at him and called his name repeatedly. Abdulateef claimed he said sorry to her. He lifted her legs and straightened them on the floor next to the sofa in the sitting room. He noticed that blood had stained her dress and the knife he had used. Abdulateef claimed he pitied her as she called his name, so he went and turned on the air conditioner to blow directly at her body. He then went to her room and ransacked it, picking out some trinkets and clothes. He went back to the living room and took her 3 phones before removing 10,000 naira from her purse. It was at this point that one of the neighbors who had heard Mabel scream in pain came over to knock on the gate and ask what was wrong. Abdulateef had dismissed him with the story about a cockroach, and the neighbor had gone away. He had thrown the knife he used to kill Mabel over the fence onto an undeveloped plot of land beside his employer's house. At 5 a.m. the next morning, he left the compound and traveled to Taraba State. When he arrived in his village, his people did not ask him many questions about his sudden return, since he had previously gone to Lagos and later returned. Abdulateef said he sold the trinkets he stole to 2 different people at 3,000 naira each. He kept some of the stolen clothes for himself and gave others to his friend, claiming he had bought them for resale. He confessed to selling Mabel's 3 phones for 20,000 naira each. When asked what offense his boss had committed that made him kill her, Abdulateef replied that his boss did not offend him at all. He claimed it was the devil that pushed him into such action. He kept insisting that an evil spirit came upon him and made him stab her. He said he never believed he could kill a human being and did not even fully realize what he was doing when he stabbed her. He pleaded for pardon, saying he would never do such a thing again. The police took him back to Lagos. They brought him to Mabel's residence, where he demonstrated to the officers exactly how he killed her. He also showed them where he had hidden the murder weapon. The knife was found exactly where he said it would be, still covered with bloodstains. The police later confirmed the recovery of many of Mabel's belongings. The case was also transferred to the Special Anti-Robbery Squad for further investigations. After the completion of investigations, Tanko Abdulateef was charged to court. He was arraigned before a magistrate's court at Ebute Metta, where he was ordered to be remanded at Ikoyi prison, pending legal advice from the Department of Public Prosecution. Abdulateef was later charged with murder, and the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011 prescribes the death sentence for offenders. What do you think about this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more true crime stories.